guys, and welcome back to another episode of Draw with T. Today, I am drawing another one of my characters, and we kind of seen him before. I did a little doodle of him when I had reviewed my Huion Canvas Pro model tablet, which, by the way, every time I say that, I kind of feel like I'm one of those sponsors, or, I've been sponsored by Huion. I just want to say I have not. I paid for that tablet with my own money, and I can say whatever the hell I want about it. I am just honestly very happy with it. But I do realize how funny it is every time I'm like, I have the Huion Canvas Pro 2019 model, whatever it is. We're not here to really talk about that. We're here to talk about Scath. Or maybe we're not. I don't know. Maybe it's just me watching this video. Wouldn't be surprised, but hey, that's okay. Hello, future me. And hello to any other random person who's watching this, or one of my 2-3 fans. You guys are awesome. I don't know what you see in this stuff, but I'm glad you tune in. It is nice. I'm happy some people are enjoying this. I don't fully understand why, but hey, I kind of like it too. I'll watch some of my old videos now and again. So here I'm sketching Scath in proper, because the last time I did was when I was testing out the Huion tablet, and I just threw down some lines. It's been a while since I've drawn Scath. The last time I did the race that he comes from, which is the Duro, they didn't have horns. They were literally my world's version of dark elves, like the Drow of D&D or such. But they were a little different, but not by much. And I back then it was a very fast and loose story, and I was just kind of using things like the Drow and whatever as kind of a shorthand. Everybody knows, the dark-skinned elves are evil, so let's just, run with that. And, as the story developed, and then I started kind of these, races and histories, and the story evolved. The story itself evolved from something very tropey and lighthearted to something that's still, lighthearted, but also has some more drama, more things at stake. It's one of those stories where it starts off and you're like, oh, it's just a doofy story about a knight and a princess. The knight rescues the princess, and look at that. It's refreshing because the dragon joins them on the journey, and they're all misfits, and they're all, fighting the system or whatever, having fun adventures with elves and whatever. And then it changed. And I mean, though it starts off with like that, later on, more things are at stake. You learn the history of the world. You realize the characters are more complicated than just being a one-note knight and a one-note princess and all that. And, I'm sorry, I was interrupted by a dog there. What was I saying? I don't remember what I was saying, unfortunately. I'm just going to move on. So this is Scath. He is a villain in the story of Kalazmir, which is my own original story. Although the two of you watching this probably already know that. Future me certainly knows that. Scath is probably what I consider my scariest villain in the whole story. He's not the big bad guy. There's Baldric is the big bad guy. Scath, however, does appear probably more times than a lot of the other villains. A lot of them, are dealt with, but Scath keeps coming back. And he's very competent and very good. He's kind of like an assassin, I guess, an assassin and a spy. He has magic powers that allow him to just kind of, blink around, which is this world's version of teleporting. The Duro can kind of do that. They can just sort of appear, They can teleport a short distance from where they started, which is a very scary ability, for an assassin. And he deals in poisons and all that. What makes him so evil is a lot of the villains, they have their motives their motives are agnostic in a way. It's how they execute them that's a bit scary. For example, Baldric wants power. He thinks he's the right guy to lead the people, to a new age of prosperity. And I mean, his methods, though, are a bit questionable. He does a lot of bad things, for the good of the people. But, you can understand that he sees himself as a reasonable guy. And then there are some other villains that are much more uncomplicated. They just want wealth and power, because wealth and power gives you a cushy life. And obviously you're going to serve the guy that can give you that. But when it comes to Scath, he's not after anything reasonable. He's not really looking for balance. He's looking for revenge, the kind of revenge that just does not satisfy you at your core. He wants to see the world bleed and burn because he has been bled and burned by the world. And he enjoys the pain of others, and he just wants to light the world on fire, basically. And he feels justified in this because, he's been hurt and he's, felt like he's been affected by like racism and all this sort of stuff, but he's a real bad dude. Like he's done the most worst things for no reason other than he felt like it. And that's what, to me, makes him the scariest of them all. The other ones are just trying to make the world a better place or find a place for themselves. And Scath, he could do that. I mean, he's not a dumb guy. He could, carve out a nice place for himself in the world, but he chooses to make other people's lives miserable because it makes him, it gives him some warm fuzzy feelings on the inside. It makes him laugh. He enjoys the pain of others because he's been in that pain, and to inflict it on others just feels good. But unfortunately, he's kind of looking for some kind of retribution or revenge, and it's just never going to come because that bucket can never be filled. You're going to notice in a lot of these concepts here that I play around with the idea of him having antlers and that some of those antlers are broken. In one of the versions of the story, I had written out the fight between him and his twin sister, Kaya, or Kia. Still trying to figure out what I want to call her, but I think it's going to be Kaya. And that was the last character that I did. They have a fight. And it's sort of their parting of ways where they both go their own paths, and these two twins take very different roads. In that fight, Scath nearly blinds Kaya, like she's got a cataract eye and a scar on her left side, but Kaya cut off his ear in the original version because he didn't have horns in the original version. Now that he had horns, now that I've added horns to him, I kind of played around with the idea of his horns being broken. And, just kind of a little homage to the twins, very, very hostile fight and the end result of that. But I don't really have time in the story to really flash back to that fight, so that might be something that drops away. Kaya's gonna keep her cataract eye because I like the idea of her being scarred by whatever encounter and parting that these two had, and they probably still had the fight. It's just not gonna be something shown. But I kind of like the idea of Scath being a little less scathed by it. Like he just didn't really think much about betraying his twin sister, who, they've been loyal, good friends for their entire life, and, the moment she's not willing to kill somebody with him, it's over, and then he just turns on her. That she's more bothered by that than he is. And I kind of like that, but then also, there's something cool about a character that's got some kind of scar or something broken. It shows that they've been around. They're not a newbie. And it shows, somebody may have bested them, or they've got a chip on their shoulder or something. And I actually found drawing Scath to be quite fun. I think I got a little whimsical here near the bottom of the page. Some of these are cool, but to be honest, a lot of what I drew here just did not quite feel like Scath. And for the next series of videos, because I drew I think all of this in one day. I'll say this now, it was a bad day for me to do art, or a bad art day. I was very overcritical of myself. I don't know what was my issue, but nothing seemed right to me, and I was very frustrated and just not satisfied with anything that I did. This page went all right. You won't see me erasing too much more than just what I did there. I was just recording ideas, but everything I drew here, I was like, I just haven't found it yet. I haven't found the look for Scath yet. Even though looking at them now, I'm like, yeah, that's a good idea there, and that's a good idea there, and that's a good idea over there. But I was very critical when I was drawing this and what's to come in later episodes, and I just kept erasing stuff and kept, trying to fix things that weren't broken and throwing away perfectly good drawings that probably maybe even would have turned out better than what I ended up picking. But that's something for the next episode. For now, this is just me having fun doodling this character that's sort of a combination between my human characters and my anthropomorphic animal characters, and that's what kind of was fun about him is, I could break the rules of human anatomy, give him big eyes if I wanted to, or really exaggerate things, and I didn't feel bad or weird about it. I didn't get caught up in, whatever it is that I get caught up when I do regular humans. But at the same time, there was something a bit humanistic about him. He didn't have a muzzle, he didn't have, a massive beak or anything, but he did have a skull-like face, so yeah. That was kind of interesting. I wish I could kind of take what I did here and apply it to some of my human characters, and I might explore that in the future. This drawing here that I'm doing is probably one of my favorite. I feel this looks a little bit too bug-eyed and a little maybe too animated for Scath, but as a drawing itself, I really like it. Love the fluidity of it. I love how the eyes are, and if this was a more buggish character, something that sort of slouched over and maybe made sounds like a bug, and like played, steepled and played with his skeletal long fingers, that would be really cool. And maybe that's what he'll become. I'm not quite sure. But originally, what Scath has got on his face there is supposed to be a mask. And in the original versions of my drawings of him, that mask had no features, no expression, and that was kind of what made him creepy. Just that you had no reference for what was behind that mask. But going forward, I really like drawing expressions now. I really like drawing faces now, too. I didn't like doing that back in the day. And I really like the idea of, that even though it's a mask that he wears, I want it to express. It just makes it easier for me as an artist down the line, especially if I've got to draw like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of drawings of this guy and every character. If I can, make it easier on myself, I'm gonna do that. Plus, I'm pretty sure you can make him look pretty freaky even with a mask. I think even, the ambiguity of, is it a mask or is it his face? We don't necessarily know. There is not really a face reveal for Scath. I have written a scene where his mask does get a little bit damaged, and that's just kind of me wanting some of my characters to have that progression of time. So yeah, his mask gets like either a slash out of it or a chunk out of it, and going forward in the story, that's there forever. But we don't ever see his real face, at least not right now. Maybe in flashback we might, but as far as I'm concerned, this is his face. This is the face he chooses to have, even if he's got a real face underneath. That is not really what Scath is. This is what he's become. He's turned himself into a literal monster, and unfortunately, there's not a lot of redemption for him, at least not in the first volume. I mean, if I do a second volume, maybe he'll come back and he'll be a thing, but I don't know. He's my one villain that really has no redemption. He's just evil because, those are the decisions he's made, and, unfortunately it bites him in the butt. Anyways, guys, that's the end of it. Like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't. Hope you guys have a good day. Stay safe and, draw lots of stuff, because apparently we all got time on our hands now, right? At least I'm assuming. Who knows when this video goes out. Have a good day, guys.